Hello and welcome to the GBTA broadcast studio. I'm Suzanne Neufang, CEO of GBTA, here live in Toronto, Canada, where we're at the 2022 GBTA Canada Conference. And I'm so pleased to welcome Ian Dale, who is Vice President of Canadian Business Rental Sales at Enterprise Holdings. Welcome, Ian.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
There is so much going on, and it's great to be back. I think our last Canadian conference was in 2019, and this is thrilling to have everybody back face to face. But in the course of 2 years, how has Enterprise's business changed?
Yeah, well, reiterate, it is absolutely great to be back and have everyone and see everyone. So yeah, it's been the longest 2 years or 2.5 years ever, right? So that's
Yes.
there's a lot to answer in that question. So, I think when you talk about the travel industry, there's kind of a progression that we've all gone through, and at the beginning there was obviously a little bit of panic and some survival, but the focus that will last, one of the focuses that will last is the focus on cleanliness, and we've always prided ourselves on providing well-maintained, clean vehicles in all of our mobility products. But facing the pandemic, similar to everybody else, it was an opportunity for us to kind of take a deeper look at that and probably to talk about it more and to make it a little more conformed to across the whole company. So for us, that was the Complete Clean Car Pledge.
Okay.
Which just is an assurance to every one of our customers that they're getting a vehicle that has been appropriately cleaned. The other thing I would say that our focus has been is always just more important than ever, listening to what the customers needed, because that did change, and that helps to guide us. And we had certain initiatives and forward-thinking projects, some which we stopped and some which we accelerated because of the pandemic and the changing dynamic of the needs of the customer. One of the things I'm proud that we've done is we've extended all of our loyalty benefits. So for our Emerald Club members at all levels, we've extended their benefits currently through to February 23.
Okay.
And there are also some free days attached to the people that have earned free days prior and maybe aren't quite ready to be using them at this point. We've extended those through to the end of 23 as well. I would say that one of the benefits for our brands through the pandemic and the changing landscape was, we're more than a car rental company. So we have various mobility solutions. You're probably familiar with the brands, Enterprise, National, and Alamo. But within that, we have a truck division and an exotic car division, a commute division, car share, and a few more. And the change in dynamic, as everyone is aware, were the airports were the worst affected, and that business is still recovering. Restrictions are still improving, but still exist. So that's going to be a longer recovery time at the airports. But we had much more resilient business in our home city locations, and also our truck division specifically. And in Canada, the truck division is a significant portion of our business makeup. So we were grateful for those because they were impacted, but were a lot more resilient, and our truck division showed a lot of growth. If you just think, everything became delivery. So suddenly companies that weren't used to doing deliveries were suddenly looking for vehicles from us, from our truck division, being a cargo van or similar, to be able to do that. So that really helped us through the tougher times, having a dynamic business mix or business lines to help support us.
When it comes to supply and demand, certainly demand for cars being able to sit in something that is more private, not like a moving or flying bus. There was a huge surge in demand for a while. How is demand at the moment in or out of airports? How do you see that today?
Yeah, so I mean, the airport market, like I said, is recovering, but is still not close to pre-pandemic levels. Again, I think there's the restrictions that are in place, and when I say restrictions, the obvious thought is government restrictions, and obviously we've had some significant movement there in Canada, but you still need to be able to test to go back to the US, which is obviously our biggest inbound market. So there are still restrictions in place. There's also company policy, and then there's customer trust or willingness to travel. So really the trifecta there to get back to that. So with the lifting of some of the restrictions, demand is definitely increasing and is up. The peak of the season for car rental is definitely in the summer, not just for retail, but also for business. The amount of projects and events and things like this that happen during the warmer months. So the demand is there, which is a great thing. That doesn't come without some challenges. I think we'll probably touch on those in a second. But as we look, as I said, the different segments, we've got growth in our truck division. Our home city locations are nearing where they were pre-pandemic levels. The airports still have a bit of a ways to go.
Challenges. What are those challenges?
I think availability of vehicles is obviously certainly one of them. So, the rental car companies and the industry as a whole, we did defleet for a few months because we were quite honestly paying to park vehicles, and that's what we needed to do without knowing what that future looked like. Since then, that was probably about 3 months in to the start of the pandemic for North America, we've been trying to buy as many cars as we can. That's not as easy as it used to be. Most people are probably familiar with the microchip shortage, and there appears that there might be some other additional things on the horizon similar to that with some of the parts that are required. But the demand for a new vehicle is not just coming from rental car companies, it's dealerships and fleet companies and companies that run their own fleets, and it's everybody. So we're out there, we're getting our hands on whatever we can. When you look at light duty new vehicle sales in 21, we maintained our market share of that, which is approximately 60% of the vehicles sold into rental company fleets, but the overall pie has shrunk. So we're still getting access to the same piece of the pie, but not the volume of the vehicles. So there's a number of things that we're doing and have done and continue to do there. We are getting hold of as many vehicles as we can. We also have a much more robust fleet preservation strategy right now. We really are holding on to as many vehicles as we can to allow our customers access to those vehicles. Summer in Canada, as I've said, is the peak, and traditionally demand always goes up and fleets are restrained somewhat. So that won't be any different this summer. Our fleet actually at Enterprise in Canada is actually bigger already than it was pre-pandemic. But the demand is way higher this summer than it used to be because everybody wants to.
Indeed.
Everybody wants to travel, right? Which is a great thing.
It's such a key piece of the ecosystem as well for leisure or for business travel. So with that, I'll thank you, Ian. Thanks very much for joining us, and thank you for joining us
Thank you.
at home.